Hello there, and welcome to the show, World War II Books Where to Start. I'm your host, Grand Admiral Carl Dunitz. Today we're going to do some U-boats. A U-boat, actually. We're going to do a book and a movie, Das Boot versus Das Boot. And Das Boot was originally a German miniseries in 6 parts for German TV, early 80s, maybe like 80 or 80. Well, the feature film came out in 81, so probably filmed in 79, released in 80. But the original miniseries did so well, it was cobbled together into a 2-hour film for theatrical release and did well around the globe. Became, I hate to use the term instant classic, but certainly an instant classic, and it has a deep cult following to the point where in 97 they released a director's cut, adding on an hour of footage. And this is going to be consistently ranked as the #1 or definitely the top 5 submarine movies ever made, and for good reason. Directed by Wolfgang Peterson, who just passed away last year. He made several other successful movies also. And they really went all out for this, despite it actually being a low-budget film. They did a whole mock-up of a real U-boat for the studio, pretty much to the correct dimensions. What you see in a lot of the older submarine films is terrible interiors of this wide-open space. It's almost like a yacht or a pleasure, like a ferry. There's so much open space, it's ridiculous. That's not how U-boats were, not how U.S. submarines were, not how British submarines were. They're very tight, constricted spaces. If you ever toured one, you'll know what I mean. And if you want to tour one, there is a genuine U-boat in Chicago, the Museum of Science and Industry. I highly recommend going through it. But at any rate, they were faithful to the dimensions of the U-boat here. So everything is very cramped and claustrophobic, as it should be for the 47 or 52-man crew, whatever it was for a Type 7. There's just no space to move without pipes and wheels and hatches and other dudes right in your way. So navigation within this boat is terribly difficult. And you have to live on top of each other for 6 weeks, 8 weeks at a time. So they capture the claustrophobic feeling very well. On top of that, it's a German war/anti-war film about the U-boat venture in the Second World War. So it has that anti-war message, and it's really actually faithful to the U-boat experience. Long periods of doldrum and tedium and fighting the weather, and very few moments of excitement, followed by long sessions of terror as the enemy counterattacks with depth charges. So I think you'll find this enjoyable if you've never seen it. And if you have seen it, it's worth going back and watching it again. A really fantastic adaptation of a novel, which is one of the toughest things to do for a screenplay, is adapt a novel to the stage. What do you leave in? What do you take out? What makes the story flow? And heaven forbid, what do you add to sugar it up or Hollywood it? And in this case, I think it's a straight adaptation. There are a few things left out for time consideration and plot tightening. But was anything added on top to sugar it up? Nope. They were pretty faithful. And that's a rare thing to say. You wouldn't find it in a Hollywood production. Hollywood tinkers with the scripts all the time to sugar it up and jack in a love story. And there ain't no love story here. And it's all the better for it. But that takes us back to the original source material, which is The Boat by Lothar Gunther Buchheim, originally published in 75 in the States in 76. And I had not read this. I never really considered the source material. I knew the source material. Buchheim was a wartime journalist in Germany and actually made a U-boat patrol for propaganda purposes, taking pictures and writing up glossy stories for the magazines. But after the war, he knew what the reality was versus the propaganda he had disseminated. And here's his anti-war statement, and to the tune of 560 pages. So I went to it without a hesitation. I just found this at a used bookstore recently. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a slog. He's going to reflect that tedium of a long patrol in the North Atlantic in bad weather with long chapters where not a whole lot happens. But it does get him the chance to stretch his legs and do some great pastoral and nautical writing. He is pretty good at the wind and the waves. If you're going to have a story at sea, you better be able to describe the weather. And he does. He's on par with the top guys in the field. And there's a lot of it. And it's all dirty, nasty stuff in the North Atlantic from less than treetop height, because those U-boat conning towers are just a few feet above the waves. And when you're on the surface, you feel everything. So you get long passages about the weather and how nasty it is inside the boat with the the water rolling around inside, and the fumes from the diesel compartment, and everyone's stinking to high heaven, and the moldy bread and all that good stuff. So he goes through the whole thing, gives you the whole experience. I think it's pretty valuable, but it's not for everybody. Like, because the tedium of the pacing is slow. It is slow. And there's one thing they did not include in the movie that makes the ending make more sense. I never understood the abruptness of the ending of the film, either in the short form or the extended version. And the ending is downbeat and apropos, but I never understood where in the heck it all came from, out of the blue, bang, with no explanation. The novel has the build up for that explains it. And I can see why they left it out of the film. There probably wasn't enough time to set that up and have it make sense to the audience. Okay, cool. And there was also one other incident that the U-boat encounters with a cruise liner on the high seas that was not included in the movie, and for good reason. That didn't need to be in there. So the adaptation is just spot on. The novel is good. There's 2 down points. The repair sequence off Gibraltar is forever and a day plus 2, both film and book. But I actually think it's worse to watch on screen. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. They could have cut that down significantly. And then there's the opening scene with the pseudo-drunken orgy at the nightclub. That is so grossly over the top, you wonder how close it was to real parties of the same nature. It gets a little bit ridiculous to watch. Maybe not your first time, but if you've seen the film a few times, like, man, this just goes on and on. Are they really doing this? It's like a cascade of idiocy that keeps going on, and you just, can we get on with the actual film and book? So those are the 2 downsides, but they're very, very small niggles. And I would really, if you've never seen this, hop on to it and get it watched. It's very good stuff. The novel is probably only for hardcores. It's not essential reading. I think the film actually stands alone well enough that you don't need to do both. But there it is, Das Boat versus Das Boat. Can't go wrong either way. I'm Grant Admiral Donuts, going to cook up a scheme with those Type 21s. Until next time, happy reading.